being a regional banker for the last 8 years, and I know what it takes to make sure that we can make loans to small and mid-market companies, and that's going to be our big focus, making sure we scale back regulation so that we make sure the banks are lending.
Treasury Secretary nominee Steve Mnuchin has zero public policy experience, but when asked about his credentials this week, he touted his experience running a bank. That bank, IndyMac, based in California, according to the Wall Street Journal, was the second largest bank failure of the financial crisis, surpassed only by Washington Mutual. Now, the bank was renamed One West, and Mnuchin and his investors bought it. And they profited while executing nearly 40,000 foreclosures by some estimates. As Politico reports, that same year, Florida resident Ossie Lofton, who had taken a reverse mortgage, the company foreclosed on the 90-year-old Lofton after a 27-cent payment error. Now today, Associated Press highlighted the story of Trump voter Tina Colebrook. Mnuchin's bank, One West, had foreclosed on her Los Angeles area home, stripping her of the 2 units she rented as a primary source of income. Mnuchin and his investors eventually sold the bank for $3.4 billion. Joining me now is Tina Colebrook. Ms. Colebrook, can you tell me, when you went through the foreclosure, were you familiar with the bank and who was running the bank?
Yes, I was.
And did you know who Mnuchin was?
Yes, I did.
Did you develop a feeling about how you were treated by the bank during that process?
Appalling, like most all of us were. It was just one flat-out lie after another. We weren't treated like people. We were just a number to them who they wanted to foreclose on in every which way they could. They just would not work with any of us after false promises, after leading us into foreclosure, saying that we had to be 3 months behind in our mortgage payment before they would even think of helping us. That's a lie, which most of us found out too late.
This is something that happened to thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands, millions of people, in which they were told by banks that you had to be late on payments so that you could qualify for a loan modification, and then once you went late on a payment, they then foreclosed on you.
They foreclosed on us. They added hundreds of thousands sometimes in fees, illegal fees. They had sloppy accounting. The amount they stated I owed varied in 3 months by $130,000 in 3 months.
So let me ask you this. You voted for Donald Trump. Tell me what drew you to him, why you voted for him.
Like many of the people I'm in touch with who were foreclosed on by Mnuchin, we voted for Trump because we were fed up, like the most of America, with the politics as it is. We're fed up with the government and all those elected officials who were elected to serve the people, but they're really only serving themselves. They, vote in special, compensation for themselves, everything. They're not really working for us. It's all lip service. And we believed Trump would be an outsider for the first time who would work for the people like his campaign promised. He said he would, my only special interest, he's quoted as saying, is to you, the American people, not major donors, the party or corporations. Now we want him to prove it. He said he was going to drain the swamp. Now he's filling it with alligators like Mnuchin. We want him to prove he will drain the swamp.
What was your reaction when, having voted for him and having gone through this Mnuchin, when you saw them with Mnuchin's bank, when you saw the Mnuchin news, what was your reaction?
I was sick, disgusted. I talked to a lot of other people the same way. They just couldn't believe that he would hire someone who was known as a foreclosure king, who has committed so much forgery, fraud on the people, the working class people. He's foreclosed on far more than 40,000 homes. And, he labels us vexatious litigants when really they are vexatious foreclosers. He labels us deadbeats. Even the press really has labeled us deadbeats. We're not. I talked to a vice president of a bank who One West foreclosed on and stole over $1 million of equity. I've talked to doctors, to lawyers, to dentists, all professional people, all got taken in.
Yeah.
And if a banker can be foreclosed on by a bank, that's incredible and disgusting.
So let me ask you this. Do you feel like you were played? Do you feel like you were hoodwinked?
I think, yes, in some instances. I understand that he's got to, bring in a good team. But this one, there's plenty of qualified people out there who who are not Wall Street insiders, who are not billionaires that were made billionaires off the backs of the working class people. The alternative wasn't great either, and there's no way I would have voted the other way for Hillary. But Mr. Trump needs to follow through on his campaign promises and prove to the American people that what he said he will follow through on. No billionaire insiders and no Goldman Sachs people. This is wrong.
Right,
we're angry, and we're watching him.
Tina Colebrook, I really, really appreciate you taking the time tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up, a lone